We've made a ton of amazing PCs on this channel before, but there are a few that I would call epic. This here is one of them. This PC over here has got 64 cores and the fastest Gen 5 SSDs money can buy. So this is future me, comes here with a little bit of sad news that I'm gonna speak a little bit more about in the end of the video, but this video doesn't have a good ending. I don't really know how this is gonna end, but let's do the good news first. We don't have one, but two RTX 5090s. On top of that, 196 gigabytes of RAM, and it can easily pull 1600 watts from the socket. This is for a person called Errol. He is a game modder and a very high-end creator. He's built mods for games like Rainbow Six Rogue Spear and Ghost Recon, Desert Siege, and Island Thunder. He's also done a lot of modeling for 3D printing artists such as these. And in a minute, I'm gonna take you behind the scenes how one of these beasts is actually made and show you all of the frustrations, things that went wrong, things that went right, and how we fixed them all. It's so annoying. I don't want to pay hundreds of dollars to just change my Windows wallpaper just because my Windows isn't licensed. Well, why don't you try Hookies? That's a ton cheaper, and if you use the code TN20, you get it even cheaper. What do you mean? How do I get it and how is it possible? Well, see this video here, or the one you're watching? Click in the link on the video description, add the Windows 11 CD product to the cart, proceed to checkout, add the code TN20 for the extra discount. So what, the Windows 11 Pro OEM key is just $23.22? Yeah. Choose the preferred payment option and complete the purchase. The key will be available on the purchased orders in a few moments. Copy the key and paste it into your Windows activation settings, and you're all done. Oh, that was easy. Is that Ryan Gosling? No. Anyway, by the way, the same discount code also works website-wide, so go check out other products, maybe like Microsoft Office. I'm excited. Motherboard, Gigabyte TRX AI top. I've made a whole dedicated review about this one. If you want to check it out, go check out the review on the channel. But this is a pretty special motherboard. Oh, what's going on in here? Look at that. Oh my goodness. Because there's a screw missing on this side. It might be even snapped. So this motherboard is going back. I'm just gonna put that back like it was and then show them that this is not how it's supposed to be. The good job is I've actually got another one of these motherboards here. I don't actually have to stop the build. So this can be very easily exchanged. Well, that's a bit of a interesting turn of events, but that's why I bought these from Amazon, because I don't need to worry about them. I'm just gonna send them back. Good job, I do have two of these. And then look, this is what it's supposed to look like. There's supposed to be this quick release in there that opens it just like that. For some reason, it wasn't there. Don't think we need anything from within. Remember, because this is a workstation motherboard, all back is covered as well, so you can't really damage it, which is really nice. This is how it's supposed to work. You've got this quick release. You open this, and then this just comes off. Look, and all your thermal paste is just here without any issues. Gen 5, Gen 5, Gen 5, Gen 5. So we want to install the CPU first, and this is a big beauty. Threadripper, straight from the oven. There is some kind of a code underneath as well, or like a sticker. So I'm hoping that this is not actually a fake CPU, because I posted it on my YouTube channel a little while ago that I found this on Amazon on a ridiculous deal. I've got the actual AMD sample of this as well, so I know what it should look like, so I can exactly compare if everything is perfect here. So we need the CPU, so I'm just gonna leave it here Oh, this is interesting. What's going on in here? So as you can see, they've made in different places. Here it says the one that I just bought is made in Malaysia, and the one that AMD sent me is made in China. Both of them 2022. They look identical from the front here. Completely identical, as you can see here. I just realized how much I'm holding in my hands here. So we're just going to be using the new one. Seems all good to me. Okay, we do need this little socket cover that comes underneath there as well. I don't think we need this for our cooler. I'm gonna keep that there, but this we do need. So we open it from 3, 2, 1. This is how you install a $5,000 CPU. And we got it actually for $2,700, which is incredible deal. Even if the new series comes out, because some people might be saying in the comments, why are you not using the Threadripper 9000 that's just come out? It's not out at the time of me making the video. There's some rumors that it's gonna be out in whatever time or soon. Pull this cover off. Gonna take our CPU. And that pops just in, making sure that they both go into the rails on both sides. Okay, pop it in there. This goes down, okay. Then now we're just gonna close it from this side first. I like to get everything going rather than doing all the screws fully at first, just because this is a little bit better. It does say here to go all the way like 1 and then 2, but I'm gonna get everything going a little bit, and you screw it until you hear a click. Okay, double checking. 1, 2, 3. I've seen people say that, oh, why do you over tighten it? Because if you go back and do a click again, it's going to put a little bit more force on. That's not how it works. The wrench is exactly, so when you get to this point and it goes click, it doesn't tighten it anymore because you can't put any more force on it. It just stays at that. That's the whole point of this wrench. Okay, next I'm going to install the SSDs. So we've got 2 terabytes, 4 terabytes and 4 terabytes of Kingston Fury Renegade. Why did we use this one and not WD-SN8-100 or some of the other drives that are out there for creative? I haven't tested the Western Digital one, but I've heard that their drive is very, very good. The thing is, there's something about these Kingston drives that is not in the competition, which is the terabyte written spec. They have much larger terabyte written spec than any other drives out there, almost doubled. In fact, the 4 terabytes goes to 4,000 terabytes written, whereas the others like Western Digital, Samsung will have 2,400. So as a creator, as a movie creator who will have extremely large assets on this, you can be sure that your SSD is going to last for a very long time, and you don't need to worry about it actually just giving up on you. It's a little bit more expensive, but they're almost like a workstation grade SSDs here, which is really cool. I'm going to undo that little sticker underneath there. 4 terabytes project drive. There we go. 2 terabytes operating system and programs goes on the top there. 4 terabyte project drive. Off we go. And these will be all cooled on both sides, even though the chips and everything on this Kingston Fury is only on the top. So I'll just pop it in there. Installed. Before I'm gonna put the RAM in, we're actually gonna do the cooler, because once the RAM is in, you might be struggling to get the cooler in and all these little screws and everything. For that, we are actually using Be Quiet Silent Loop 3 420mm, because this has a special socket for the Threadripper and very good IHS coverage. For 420mm AIO for Threadripper, not very common, but I'm glad that this Be Quiet actually has that. It also comes with extra liquid in case you need to fill your loop again if it ever loses the coolant over time. Oh, the installation for this is actually very, very simple. Don't need any of these. So we're just gonna install that onto there. So how this works is we're gonna take this and that is gonna go over like that. And there's no way you can misalign it, because the screw holes, you can't go it any other way. Some thermal paste first. No other thermal Chrisley Duronaut. Let's use their spatula as well. So that's all covered. It's a little bit of a mess, but honestly, that's what thermal paste is. It just needs to cover it. Now this goes over. Get these screws just started lightly. Okay, so you know every single screw is biting. Now we take this cooler, and I just want to make sure that I'm mounting it the right way. So probably tubes up, and then the tubes will go in the front, just like that. Make sure that you peel this off, super important. And then now these screws line up. So we completely tighten these screws on the top there. And even if we do, it's not going to make contact with the CPU quite yet because we haven't tightened any of the other screws. So these first, this is tight, and now diagonally we're going to tighten these screws. You just tighten every screw. Oh my goodness. We've had second fail. Oh my goodness, look at this. I mean, we've made good coverage in there, but this snapped on the Be Quiet. I must have tightened it too tight because that just snapped in there. Good job. I do have Be Quiet contact, but wow, this build is going with interesting faults. So Be Quiet. I don't know if this was a fake from the factory. This is crazy. I'm gonna send Be Quiet an email straight away. So welcome, happy Monday. What has happened then? I've built the PC kind of on the box. We've done the test run. What the fuck? Everything seems to be running perfectly. So as you can see, I've got the PC on right in here. We've got our CPU, 7980X. I am super happy to announce that the listing was for real. So we basically got the CPU for half the price. The price we got the 64 core for should be the price what the 32 core should be going out there, which is pretty crazy. We got literally a couple of $1,000 discount on this. They seem to be working very well. I'll show you in a minute. The memory, that's a temporary memory right now, but it works there. All 128 gigabytes is showing up. I haven't got XMP or anything installed there for now because I just wanted quick boot. I didn't want to change the RAM because we're going to change it when it comes this week anyway. We've got our Ethernet, obviously 10 gigabit because there's no other option. Everything's 10 gigabit and I like it that way. And the best thing is one 1590 and then another 1590 here. As you can see, both of them just running there. Obviously one is running a little bit hotter than the other one just because they're on top of each other. Now, that is not a problem if the temperature is still within limits. If it's a little bit warmer, it's all right. But we understand that there's going to be constantly the thing that the bottom one most likely is going to be cooler and then the top one is going to be hotter because that's just how it's going to go. But it seems to be running everything hotter. I'm not sure if it prioritizes the top one rather than the bottom one because the fans are not on. I'm using the display of like the top one, as you can see. It come out from the back of the front top one. And the back plate of this one is a lot hotter, more warmer than the bottom one. Okay, right now we've got the top one tested, so we're gonna run that. Yep, I can see that the top one is turning up now. Interestingly, for some reason it's swapped. So we are pulling 574 watts. Let's just double check it in here as well. Yeah, as you can see, the top one is pulling to 575 watts right now. And the bottom one is kind of just idling around 12, 15 watts, which is really good for such a powerful GPU, really. The power seems to be going okay. Everything seems to be there. So I'm just gonna stop it and then swap it out to the secondary one. And then we're gonna press run on there, check the secondary GPU as well. So let's see if the bottom one is now pulling a lot of power. No, it's still pulling the top one. Okay, so it doesn't know how to switch in Firmark, how to do that. Whether I'm top or bottom one, it just doesn't know. But there are creative applications that can utilize this. And in a minute, we should be able to see that as well when we get some actual test rendering footage from Errol. So we're going to be rendering that. This seems fine right now. If I pull this out and plug it into the bottom one, whew, that is warm. Ouch. Yeah, look at that. Now the bottom GPU is going 575 watts. So whichever one has the actual graphics plugged into it, or the monitor in, that pulls that wattage, and it's going quite crazy right now. So the display engine actually pulls extra couple of watts as well, 10 watts, something like that, depending where it's plugged in, because now the other one is idling about 13 watts. So this seems working perfectly fine right now, and I'm going to close it. There are a few problems that I'm going to have to account for now. I've installed all the drivers, everything seems to be working really, really well with our PC. But number one problem that I have right now is the cooler that broke. I've contacted Be Quiet and everything is in Computex, so they're going to be slow to respond. But I thought I'll just buy another one and then I'll sort it out later. But the thing is, in the UK, there is not a single stock of the 420mm Be Quiet AIO, only 360. So I'm like, oh my goodness. The choices I have is I either use the 360mm one, or I will actually have to swap the actual cooler that we have there. So we'll have to see what comes with that. I really like the look of this Be Quiet, and it is actually working so well. The CPU is just, when I did the test on Cinebench R23, it couldn't even like fan up. It just completed it so fast with 350 watts. Boom, it just cools it extremely well. So I'm really happy about that. Now we're gonna pull out our big, massive case and then try to fit every one of these inside the case. Okay. Okay, this goes down as probably top 2 of my favorite cases. Probably top 1 actually. Asus ProArt P602 wood case. So there is this case available that is not wood, but this one has special wood, black wood on the top here. These handles here are wood. So I'll just take the sides off slowly so it's easier to lift. So back panel is solid. And if you look at here, we've got a lot of space and really good cable management. You can put a lot of drives in there if you wanted to. And then the top, you just lift up and then it slides that way. From this side, this is the biggest change. The front here is wood. As you can see, you've got this a bit more solid panel in the front here. It's so big, I just can't fit it in here. Okay, maybe like this. You can see a solid wood on here and then some other woods from there. So if I press on both sides here, come on, yep. The front panel comes off. Look at that. Really nice ProArt logo in there, but they're very heavily painted it, but you can see still some wood grain on it. In front we have 200mm fans, and it's amazing because they make very little noise and they shift a lot of air. There is a dust filter in the front of this there as well, and this has a special filter on the side here. It's a smart filter. Basically what this will show you is when that light comes on, that means that you basically need to change your front filter or just clean it basically. And then this comes off here as well. We've got glass on the side, but also it's got like a filtered entrance on the bottom, this bit here. So for your GPUs, you can actually, look, it can come off here as well and you can clean this. But basically your GPUs can pull clean air from the side. There's lots of things already built into here, like the GPU holder, which is super cool. But obviously for us, we've got 2 GPUs. So I'm gonna have to figure out what do I do with 2 GPUs here. I have a feeling that we're gonna have to take this bottom PSU shroud off to actually fit them in there. Otherwise we're completely choking the GPU on the bottom here. The other option is I'm just gonna use a drill and then just absolutely go drill fest on this and then drill loads of holes in there. But then at that point I'm thinking, does it really look nice? Probably not. Now our motherboard is very big. It's E80X, which means that we're gonna have to shift a little bit of these here and see if we can fit it in 1, 2, 3. and it goes extra across as well. It goes all the way up to there. Interestingly, these are ATX screw holes. There is extra ones that go further down there, but there is no eATX screw holes. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't fit eATX. As you can see, our motherboard is gonna go all the way to there. So this shroud, unfortunately for us, is gonna come all off. The good side is that because it's got a back panel on the back of the motherboard, if you remember that, it's got all solid metal. So this actually supports all of this as well. There's no actual force that goes into or like on that side of the motherboard. It's gonna be interesting. Our heat sinks here on the motherboard, they have big gaps on that side. So all the air that comes from the side, hopefully is gonna blow through here onto our RAM and everything, which is gonna cool all of this down, and I'm super happy about that. What I'm checking now here, looking at this angle, SSDs, because they're only one-sided, they don't make any contact with the bottom one. So ideally, we've got some thermal pads here. I'm actually gonna add some thermal pads underneath from Thermal Grizzly as well. Okay. Now we're making contact. It's literally just glued into there. These bottom chips on the back are a little bit higher than the front ones here, or it seems like it. Yeah, that's true. So if you look at the SSD here, I'm not sure if you can see that, where the actual NAND is, that is a higher bit than the actual controller in the front. So I'm gonna put like a little bit of thermal pad on there and on there, these, so these could actually get cooled down as well. I think this is 1 millimeter here, because this is 0.5 millimeter. I'll put these on the top there. This 1 millimeter one, that fits nicely. There we go, it's like putting plaster on. What we need to do is test this GPU, the long one, because if I'm gonna put it, let's say just over there, it's gonna go into that. Oh, look at that. There's actually quite a bit of room in the bottom, so we can leave the shroud on. Maybe the cables are gonna be a little bit tricky. I'm gonna have to bring them out from like the side and maybe, but I would love this to kind of direct the air up and underneath into there. So we'll have to figure out where we're gonna put these, but that is good news. That means that we don't necessarily have to take this off. That I like. All right, the motherboard is in now, I believe. All the screws are actually fitted. Making better contact with all of this. I mean, even though this is toolless, I don't feel like it's as good of a toolless as some of them, because there's just a lot of wobble that goes around. I wish there was less of that. Now comes the real tricky bit where we're gonna have to do some cable management and figure out if we can actually fit all the cables in here and all that. So I'm gonna have to take the shroud off for now and then figure out where can we use these cables. Okay, this comes off, and then also this comes off. We'll see if we can put these back, but most likely they can't go back because we just need some space for all these cables. This could be added later, but I don't think it's gonna do us a ton of favors right now. So where's the GPU gonna go? Okay, it's gonna go roughly there, which means we're gonna take off these three. Whole lot of cables to see what we're gonna do with them. Let's put this NZXT power supply in, because fan down, I wanted to draw fresh cold air from the bottom. Okay, the top one is in, and actually there is hardly any sag at all. It's really, really well supported. Yeah, that's really good news for me. I like that. Okay, and then this bottom one. So, as you can see, we are plugged in. Like, where am I gonna run these cables? Okay, if they come out from the side there and plug in, so we're not gonna put the front shroud on. I feel like this might need to come out as well, just because it's a random piece of metal there that You could put back later if you wanted to, but for now, it's just gonna be hindering the airflow. Okay, I could put this side back on. Okay, that's not too bad. I could get these out. Very nice here. The airflow goes still on there. It can still pull the air up. This would kind of channel a lot of the bottom airflow to underneath. I mean, I would love this to channel it further up. This is probably not gonna make it. That motherboard big cable there is in the way. Unless I have a motherboard extension, but I wouldn't like to do that really on a workstation. Look at that. I remembered I've got these beautiful black and golden extensions that obviously fit really nice in this case, because these bend and comb really nicely down there. So if I did get like a hole into the side of there, then I can really nicely tie them in just like that. And then the airflow will not be blocked too much. And then I can sort all the cable management underneath just over there. I think we'll tie them in there just like that. I'm torn between the extensions. In some ways they do look nice. In some ways it's just another bit that can go wrong in a workstation. Okay, that cable management's not gonna be too bad. So I guess now I just have to figure out if the cooler is still gonna work. Okay, I'm gonna put that in. Okay, moment of truth. Why are these front fans and the case fans not working? Does it need extra power? Yes, I realized there's a SATA cable in the back as well that needs to be plugged in. It was kind of hiding underneath other cables. Okay. Ooh, it's all working now. And these fans are blowing quite a lot of air through. And then now, because I've got this fan hub on the top there, I can just make the fans go max speed with this. So now it's cooling all of these components, which is really, really nice. Okay, well, we gotta just make some holes in there for cable management to pull these cables nicely on the side, making sure that these are not gonna go into the big fans in the front there, because that wouldn't be good. And then we've got a beast. Okay, quite a while has passed and I've done a few changes. Firstly, there is a problem number one, which is that there is no Be Quiet 420mm silent loop coolers anywhere in Europe in stock. I mean, that's just insane. But I do think this Be Quiet one is one of the best coolers to have for this. The other option is NMX. They've got one, but I don't think it looks and is as nice as this one. Plus the fans in here, I think, are higher quality and a little bit quieter. So I'm gonna give him my actual sample, which is not a pre-production, it's a full production sample of the Be Quiet Silent Loop 3. So this is 360mm one, not 420mm one, which means that, you know, in some ways I'd love it to be 420. If you didn't know, 120mm fans actually create more air pressure. So in some ways it's actually better than the 420mm one. Secondly, we had the new RAM come from G.Skill. So we had to order that from the United States. So that shipped from the US to here because nowhere in Europe it seems to be in stock. So we got it from US, 192 gigabytes of DDR5, 6400 megahertz. For this, it's absolutely insane. Now, I'm not sure if you can actually add some more later because we have half of these RAM slots unpopulated. But the thing is, if you've got a Threadripper Pro, which has 8-channel memory, then it has one for everything. But I don't know if you've got quad-channel memory, like a Threadripper platform here, then would it actually give you split channels on each of these? I don't know, but for now, it is plenty. Now, I haven't tried to turn it on. Let me just flick that in there, and then I'm just gonna press. Okay, fans on the top are on, and one of the first things I wanna do is go into the BIOS. The way I set up the fans in the back here is that the side fans, both of these are connected to the fan hub in the back that controls the front and then the back as well. So if you want to, the top switch here, you can override, and that would actually use your AIO fans as well, 2 of them. But the middle one I connected to the actual CPU fan header, which goes right into there, and that is just gonna work on a different frequency than the rest of them, or different RPM, but also frequency, which means that the overall sound should be quieter because I'm not running all of the 3 fans exactly on the same frequency. Especially when they're next to each other, they're going to start to have a resonance and harmonics as audio works, and it's going to be a little bit louder. It's probably going to have some time now trying to train the memory, because I changed the memory, went from 128 to 192. Once it's trained it, I'm going to go to the BIOS, we update the XMP profile, and then it should be happy days. For some reason, it runs through all the different stages of the boot, and then once it gets to the boot section, it says AAA, and oh, I had the wrong flipping thing installed there. It's already booted. I had the wrong input on my actual ATEM Mini like installed, so I thought I had the right one and it was all black screen, but it already had booted, no problems. Oh, scared me there. I've been looking like, what the heck's going on, AA? AA means that it's no problem. So as you can see, we've got all memory sticks coming up. We're gonna go Expo 1, okay. Low latency support, why not? High bandwidth support, yes, why not, if we can. So we're gonna go Smart Fan 6 here. There is System Fan 6, I believe. Is it System Fan 6 where our System Fan 8? So this is where our AIO is plugged in, and we're gonna go full speed. I just want that to run at full speed at all times. Can't hear it anyway. It's just gonna work very, very good. CPU fan. Okay, we're gonna go manual on here and then tracking that a little bit. So we're making a curve like that just to keep it quiet as long as possible. I'll leave these there. They seem okay. And then F10, let's exit. Okay, here we are. All plugged in. Look at that. We've got 26.9 degrees. And I just want to test some of these things now. Alrighty. So first, let's take a look at the RAM and CPU, that everything's there. Memory, 192 gigabytes, 64 mega transfers per second. GPUs both there. 3 SSDs, 4, and then 2. And then let's run the CPU test. Let's just see how that does with this. We should be pulling about 350 watts, as you can see here. Keeps going round and round and round. The PC is still completely quiet. Okay. Oh my word. The cooling is just so good. It like doesn't do anything. Yeah, warmth is coming up from the top, but I think we're slowly ramping up. 98,000 points, basically 100,000 points. That's insane. I'm super happy with the cooling. Whoa. Blue screen of death? What was that for? I plugged in like an external hard drive onto the back, and we'll see what caused that. Maybe I touched some cables or something in the back. Okay, I want to try the Cinebench R24 just because it has longer rendering cycles rather than R23, because R23, basically our CPU is too powerful for R23, so it kind of doesn't take any time to do anything. 10 minutes, multi-core, go. Here we should see a little bit of a longer power draw. Look, 350 watts, constantly hitting that now. Look at the temperatures, still about 57, something like that degrees. But what we want to make sure now is that the blue screen of death came because maybe I just accidentally kind of shorted something in the back, which shouldn't really be an issue, or touched like the power cable in the back or something was like that, rather than the CPU actually being hot. So we'll let it run for 10 minutes and let's see what the end result is. The cool thing is with this PC, if you didn't know already, this override switch on the top is really, really nice. So there's quite warm air coming through, but still the PC is not even making a sweat. Like, not at all. Right, 7 minutes in, absolutely banging it. And you can see we are 63.5 degrees in CPU idle. Thing is, let's flip the switch and see what happens. Look at that, 63.5, watch it go down. Look, 60.9. So we dropped a couple of degrees just by putting the fan on full blast. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of, in terms of cooling. And this is now been almost 8 minutes full 350 watts pulled with 26.4 degrees in the room. That's quite high, as you can see. Didn't have any issues there in terms of like blue screens of death or anything. So we've got firmware going. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press the CPU burner on first of all. It's using only 64 threads. Let's use all 128 threads. It's probably gonna go a little bit interesting. It pulls only 77 watts. Not sure exactly what's going on there. I guess we've got more cores than this CPU burner can handle. So whatever. I'm gonna press go on one of these GPUs. So you can see that only one of them will be fully utilized. Then I will put this on, V-Ray as well. And we're gonna take a look how much power we're pulling. So one of the GPUs is pulling 575 watts. And then we're gonna press go. Let's see what the other one is going to do. 450 and 575. It kind of like tries to figure out what is this. So over 900 watts pulled between these GPUs. That's absolutely fantastic, if I do say myself. Look, 460 and 550. Yep, over 900 watts easily. Let's add CPU there as well. Just pull as much power as possible just to generate extreme amount of heat. So CPU is going, and let's take a look at these temperatures now. So one GPU is pulling 575, the other one about, let's see, probably a couple hundred now. Yep, 400 in there. And what's our CPU doing? CPU is pulling 350 watts. Right now, we're pulling 1200, 1300 watts. That's no problem. So I'm gonna put the fan's max speed as well to pull as much power as I can. 575. Wait, where's the other one gone? Oh, it finished. I'm gonna put that on. So check this out. Okay, 1600 watts. 1600 watts from the socket right now. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is pulling more than what the actual power supply is kind of rated for. That's quite ridiculous. So that shows that some of the actual components are pulling quite a lot of power as well, because two GPUs, let's say they're 600 watts, that's 1200, plus the CPU, 350, that's 500 or 1550. But we were over 600, there's extra 100 watts pulled by fans, the rest of the system. We need all of the 1500 watts of the power supply, and that's not a joke if you do that all at the same time. Obviously, this is a little bit of a not realistic scenario, because you wouldn't be rendering on CPU and GPU at the same time. I think you would be doing one or the other. But in the worst case scenario, it can supply more than what it's supposed to do there as well. And the nice thing is, it is very high energy efficient. So the more you use it, the more kind of you'd get through this. So let's see, maximum temperature, one of them went to 80 and then the one one's 78. So I think we're completely fine. So what can I say? Right now for the temperatures, what I've tested here, I'm super happy. I can see that it's got plenty of cooling. Everything is enough for this. Okay, time to talk about how good is this PC and the benchmarks. Now, bless Errol, he's been trying to figure out a way how I could actually do one of his renders on this PC, and he's been driving all over the Netherlands to find his old PC, and then that didn't work, so he was trying to get it working. And basically, long story short, we didn't manage to make that happen. But I wanted to still show you how much better is this PC than what he previously had. The single core performance, 47.9% faster. That's a big improvement in single core scores. In multi-core scores, we're literally more than double, 122% faster. So if it was 2 days render, now it's going to be 1 day. If it was a full day render, now it's only half day render. If it was 6 hours, now it's only 3. If it's an hour, it's only half an hour. Looking at Geekbench 6, and here we can see that in single core we're 73% faster. That is a lot better improvement. So everyday tasks, the whole PC will feel a lot snappier there. And then the multi-core is 82% faster, close to double the speed in everyday tasks, but it's still a huge improvement. And now we're comparing it to one of the best Photoshop editing PCs that you can get. The Intel Core Ultra 9 285K with RTX 4090. Bear in mind that one now is running 8000 megahertz RAM, and now our massive workstation PC is 18 to 20% slower. Now why is that? It's highly due to the single core speed what Photoshop actually likes to use. If you're wondering Premiere Pro performance, I'd highly recommend checking out the live stream. When I was trying to run benchmarks, I realized that something is there with ARRI-RAW. Whenever I'm trying to play back or use ARRI-RAW, the 250-90 configuration just kind of crashes. Now I know that one 5090 configuration doesn't crash, but for some reason when it's two, it does crash. So there's something with that when you're using ARRI-RAW, some kind of Premiere Pro bug that it can't use two 5090s. Moving on to After Effects, and here if we're comparing it to, again, the same PC 285K with RTX 4090, we can see that this workstation is actually interestingly slightly slower. 3 to about 12.5% slower in the extended and standard overall scores. Now the 2D standard score is roughly about the same, and so is the 3D standard is roughly about the same, but we're losing quite a bit of performance in tracking, which makes me think that the tracking is single core performance, where the Ultra 9 would really shine in there, because if we're looking at the extended 2D, we're slightly faster, and then 3D we're a little bit slower. But I'd still say that for After Effects this would be a great beast. But now let's move on to DaVinci Resolve, which actually can utilize all of the hardware in here. And now we're having the same PC, what we had previously, the Ultra 9 with 4090, and we can see that the new workstation, what we have here, is 31% faster in the overall basic scores, in standard overall scores 48% faster, extended overall score 32% faster, long GOP score 87.3% faster. We're getting close to double the speed there. Then we have interframe score 48.3% faster. GPU effects standard 100% faster, so we literally double the scores. For Fusion, for some reason, is a little bit slower on both the extended and standard scores, but the rest of the benchmarks are literally a lot faster on this new one. Let's move on to 3D, and this is where most of this performance really is here for, and how we can really see the performance increase compared to the previous PC. Now, firstly, we're going to look at Blender 3.6. And here I'm using one of the GPUs, the 15090 in there, compared to the 13090 what was previously. We've got two, and in Blender, you can actually utilize two of them as well. Not on the just standard benchmark, but when you're actually using the program, you should be able to use two of them as well. But just to get a kind of comparison, what would 15090 be compared to the 3090 what he had previously? The new version, we're talking about 3 times faster as the previous. So not just double what we got on the CPU, but 3 times, and that's with one of them. Blender does pretty good scaling, so I would expect between 5 to 6 times faster performance in the GPU when we get both of these working there. Errol will be using a lot of Maya and Arnold rendering, and V-Ray is a great example here where we can actually utilize two of the GPUs. We can literally select both of them and then let it render in CUDA and RTX, which would really show us a little bit of a similar performance when we get to Arnold and Maya. In CUDA scores, we are 445% faster. That's 4.5 times faster than the previous one. And the RTX scores is 536% faster, which is 5.4% faster than the previous GPU. That is going to be insane GPU rendering machine. That means that basically, if you had 5-hour render previously, now you're going to knock it out in 1 hour. That's just absolutely insane. I hope you understand that this PC is a ridiculous beast. And if you're thinking about the price point now when we paid for this and what you would be getting with maybe 5 times less, then you can see that really we are getting 5 times more performance in some of these 3D applications. If you were going to go with just maybe 2-3 grand machine, we're really getting 5 times that what you got previously. What's left now to do is to book the shipping and then pack the PC up. So here's the genesis. We shipped it and most of the shipping cost was insurance. We insured the whole PC for the whole amount what we paid. You saw how I packed up the PC. You saw how I made sure that it is safe. So if you carried it normally, put the box down, shipped it, put the box there, it's going to be fine. It can be completely fine. And I'll put extra wood on the side to make sure that you're not going to get any extra impact from the side or something else kicks into it. You wouldn't hit the glass or anything. In fact, the box has about 5-6 centimeters of empty space to protect the glass. That's why even if you have something that rams into the side, you still have this safety gap to protect the glass. What I think has happened is this box has been lifted or put somewhere higher up on top of something, and then as they're loading or unloading, they pushed it over. Oh, catch this, whoa, it goes down, and then it has landed on the floor because the whole chassis is bent. GPUs have been ripped out of the socket onto the side. They've snapped the PCB, which is absolutely insane. But the craziest thing is even the power supply in the power supply compartment has been ripped down. That to me shows that the only reason how this has happened is if someone's been on the top, hey, John, catch the parcel, and thrown it down, and that's what's happened. To damage something like that is insane. It's a very sad moment at this point, and I don't know what exactly to do. If you have any advice, let me know. Give Errol some love in the comments because he's out of PC. We're out of money. It's all just crazy, and hopefully we can get it sorted soon because Errol's work is dependent on this PC. At the point right now, I am in the process of obviously claiming it back, but as you can imagine, the insurance company or the courier, UPS, they don't really want to spend that money to actually pay for the PC. So you can imagine why they're taking their time, why they're doing whatever investigations. I've done everything from my side to make it as fast as possible. I've answered all the emails to all the couriers and everything within a couple of hours of receiving them. All we can do now is just sit tight. If you have any advice or you can help, please do. And I'll see you in the next video.